Talk about basic tools, okay? Does everybody recognize all those tools that are on that page? No? Okay, we're going to talk about a few. When you're first starting out, you don't need much. This is a little metal bucket. I trade sodas for these from the patchers at my plant. All right? I poke a couple holes in the bottom of it. All right, so we let the water out. We can throw our welding rod stubs in here. We can stand our welding rods up in the bucket while we're working. It's just handy to have. You can spend a lot of money on a welder's bucket online. You can go look those up, look up welder's buckets and stuff. There's a lot of neat ones out there. This is all you need, all right? Abby got away with a long time. She had a 5-gallon bucket with one of those little divider things on it to carry your tools in. Because if you're going to get tools, you need some way to carry them around. Even if it's just a 5-gallon bucket, you're dumping them in. All right? And a 5-gallon bucket will easily fit a basic set of hand tools and a full set of PPE. All right? You're going to want something to pound with. Now, if you're going to go get a job as a welder, don't show up with a carpenter's hammer. But frankly, I don't care. And by the way, for kids looking for an easy-to-do project, you can make a pretty nice little chipping hammer out of a piece of scrap metal or an old screwdriver and a railroad spike. And I have a bucket full of railroad spikes in the house. And I will show you that one. All right? If you're going to do the wire welding, you're going to want a pair of needle nose pliers, but you want the kind that have wire cutters in them. I like Harbor Freight tools. There are a lot of good Harbor Freight tools out there. The one Harbor Freight tool you do not want is their cheap, smaller size of needle nose pliers. There may be some in that bucket. I know I have some around here I give away because they won't cut the welding wire all the way through. You always end up breaking it off afterwards. And they're just aggravating. These are from that secondhand store, and this is more Audrey's garage sale, whatever you call it, in downtown Florence. All right? You're going to want a hammer to chip with. All right? Just a chipping hammer. All right? As long as you're not in an OSHA-regulated shop, you can make them. They're not hard to make. That's a nice little simple project to do. Okay? But one of the things I don't have, and I'm sorry, but there's a picture of it, is the little wire brush.
Oh, I know.
You got it? Abby has one. I actually don't. There isn't one in my trailer. There isn't one in my carry-around box. I'm sorry. Oh, you know what? I do have one.
This is the well used.
Yeah, this is well used. This is just a regular wire brush. All right? Thank you. All right? Yes, ma'am.
They also use, I've been to a Photoshop, and they also have wire brush.
Yes. Yes, they do. A little bit different one. All right, the next thing you may want, I don't have my regular drill, but you're going to want, like, you may want a regular pair of pliers just for picking up things that are hot. These little clamps, even the off-brand ones, are great to have. All right, I'm going to call them vice grips, even though vice grips does not like that I use that generic term. Talk about Harbor Freight tools for just a second. Does anybody know the #1 reason to buy Harbor Freight tools? Yes, sir. Nope.
No.
Anybody else want to guess the greatest reason to buy them? Yes.
Better quality?
No.
No.
Nobody steals them.
Yeah, I was going to say, because your kids are going to lose.
Right? You spend $100 on a Klein spud type adjustable wrench. You can bet it liable to walk off if somebody gets a chance, intentionally, accidentally, or otherwise. But when they pick up the one out of the discount rack at Tractor Supply, you can bet you're getting it back. All right? Nobody steals the Harbor Freight tools. I actually know somebody involved with General Water System, and the maintenance guy there only buys Harbor Freight tools. They're guaranteed for life, just like Craftsman tools. And he says, if I buy a 3/4 inch Craftsman ratchet, in a month I'll be missing half the sockets, and in 6 months I'll have nothing left of that set. The Harbor Freight set that we've had is the same one we've had for 4 years. I ain't missing none of it.
One tool that is very useful is this thing, especially when it comes to cutting fish. We have little,
Yeah.
where you're trying to cut a plate and it's just not
Letting go. A beater. The common term for that is a beater. There's a lot of different types. Joey has the same kind like hers. This is mine. This is one of mine. It just has, this is more of a blacksmithing thing. This just happened to be the one. This is a handle I broke off and put back in, but I actually like, a lot of mine have these shorter handles because they're easy to drop in my bolt bag on my PPE, on on my fall harness, right? And these are typically called driller's mallets from when you used to hit a star drill and hit and rotate. Listen to the John Henry
a
song.
while ago.
Yeah, I have a set of star drills for anybody that's interested. I can show you all about that. I've actually used them on job sites. And I like the 2-pounder. 3-pounders are nice. 4-pounders, usually, I think the handles are too short on it. Mine has one, the handle's about 10 inches longer than normal as an old sledgehammer handle. If I had to choose just two, it would be a 2 and a 6 with like a 30-inch handle on it because I want my 6-pounders short enough I can swing it one-handed, all right? But long enough that I can use it with both if I have to, all right? And I do have a 25-pounder at the shop if anybody really needs a hammer. And a heads up, dads, you want to know a great reason to keep the sledgehammer in your shop? Because it's a door prop you don't have to bend over to pick up. That's what my 25-pounder does really, really well. Okay? So you can just start with a basic set of tools. And we use these, something like this. I have a bunch of these set up out of the shop that we use for the kids. I have my rigid set up. You people will see some of it scattered around over here. This is a much more advanced set of tools. One of the things that we are going to put out on the Pinterest is a list of different levels of amount of tools. And really, we're going to almost copy it off ACC's list for the schools, right? So if you're interested in getting kids tools, or you kids are interested in going and getting tools, okay? Heads up for parents again, you don't want your kid to borrow your tools, get them their own set. Mine are blue, his are green, all right? And that's another thing, mark your tools. I like to paint my tools. I picked blue because it wasn't a color that was readily available at the plant where I worked. There were a lot of red, yellow, and green tools. So I picked a different color, all right? But pick a color and just paint them. That way at a glance you know it's yours, okay?
Not somebody else's.
Yeah, not somebody else's. You don't pick up theirs by accident, they don't pick up yours by accident.
It's like, oh, who's this? I don't care.
All right? When it comes to the file, this is the one you want. This is called a pipeliner's file. 14 inches long. It's made by Nicholas, which makes the best file. It's a half round. I will go into a lot of details over the years on what these are used for. I use these all the time. I love these. Heads up, on eBay, you can buy this from anywhere from $15 with free shipping for one file to $50 with $10 in shipping for one file. So look around before you buy it. All right? Let's take a break. 5 minutes.
What was it called? Pipeliner?
Pipeliner file. So, are there any questions on tools? Right? Any questions at all? All right. Yes.
What do we need if we're going to the first time?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. I have been collecting tools since I was 4 years old. I actually realized one day I have a complete set of welding tools. Oh, that's just part of one. In my toolbox at work, I have a complete set of welder's tools. All right? On the walls around me and on my table, I have a complete set of welding tools, the stuff I use all the time. It's right there where I can grab it and use it. All right? So basically, I have 2 of everything in my welding table. I also have this bag, which I call my grab and go bag, and it's a complete set of basic welder's tools. All right, and I'll go into a lot more depth on this or come up during the next break and I'll show you a lot more of it. This is a complete set of welder's tools. So technically, in my welding booth, I have enough tools for 3 welders and I have enough equipment for 2 because I have a hood like this with that type of headgear that I use in the shop where I don't have to wear my hard hat all the time. And then for in the field, I have this type of hood which goes on my hard hat for when I go out there. So there's 2 welders. Well then this, my rigid box setup, by the way, those rigid boxes are great. I was looking at going to ACC to take some classes and finish some stuff up that I started a long time ago, and I needed a set of tools that I could roll around that was easy to carry. So I bought the lower box for my PPE. This box contains my basic set of hand tools and a grinder, and then the little suitcase looking box actually has my TIG rig in it. It has some other specialty stuff I don't use a lot in it, and usually has a whip. That whip is usually in it for my stick welder. All right, because I like to have my own. most of the time people make their whips, they're too heavy and they're too short. I like to have mine, I like where the connections on the floor can go up over my shoulder and the stinger hits the floor again. And I also make them out of half the diameter of cable. So if my cable is single watt, my whip is 2. I'm not going to overrun that 15, even at 300 amps, I can't overdo that wire, regardless of what the book says. All right, and I'll talk more about duty cycles and stuff here in a minute. All right, so I've got that one in the truck. I can outfit 4 or 5 welders just for my own personal stuff that I use all the time. Forget all the other stuff I've collected since I started doing this. I have like 20 welding hoods right now. Unfortunately, they're also like 15 different brands. So I'm trying to get them all where they're this hood or they're this type, just because that way there's these 2 lenses and only this lens that I have to deal with because the clear ones get torn up. Joey really needs to change these on his. He was welding some galvanized stuff. Oh, okay. So, we're going to go on to the next thing. So everybody understands. No more questions about tools. We have plenty of them. Right? Kids may have to share a little bit, but we've got stuff. And if you have, again, tools just like anything else. If you got questions, ask me. One of the best places to look, the clearance bins as you walk in the door at the Tractor Supply. A lot of times around Christmas or different times of the year, they'll have a chipping hammer with this wire brush thing mounted on it, and like a pair of pliers. What was that one Allie got one year? It had the little chipping hammer wire brush combination, like a pair of vice grips, and I think there was like 2 other things with it, right? And you can find them for $5-6. Okay. There's 2 sets of clamps back there that were like $6 out of the clearance price. I bought a bunch of the spud style crescent wrenches for $5. Some of them $4. Okay.